So it's been a while since I've posted on YouTube, and you can probably tell I am not in my usual home. I have since moved out. I don't know if I mentioned that in the previous YouTube video. My hair is a nightmare. I'll put the hat on. And I ended up getting a few new toys that I want to show you. My hat is crooked. I can't have nice things. I just can't. So a while ago, I ended up getting this bag. It is just a Cabela's. Doesn't say, it's just a Cabela's. But I'm gonna be using this for my ultralight fishing and trout fishing. This bag, I'm not sponsored by this. Not sponsored, by the way. But I love this thing to bits. It's incredibly light as I drop it because it's uneven in weight. Small enough that it's not like a normal backpack. It's got the one strap, but it does lock around the waist. So I'm going to be showing you what lures that I take trout fishing with me. I'm not feeling it today, but oh well. Now, a lot of the lures that I use for trout, most people will tell you spinners, 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 depending on where you are. Spinners, live bait, doesn't matter. So I'm going to be going over, there's not a lot of lures here to go over, but there's some. So I've got a whole mess here. I'm going to start with the worst looking lure I have, Rapala. This one is it's missing a little bottom metal piece there, but oh well, it's just a little Rapala, little floater. Nothing much to note here, but its size, its color, actually I don't think this one's gonna, I'm gonna get a better example. Here we go. Rapala Husky Jerk. Now this one is a very shiny green, silver, and orange bellied with itty bitty little hooks on it. Much better looking than this one. But this one is definitely one of the lures that I recommend. Now, say you're fishing with deeper water pools, there you go, you get yourself a Rapala Ultralight Shad. This one's a size 4 by the looks of it. Let's take a break from that, let's go into jigs per se. I've got here a Mr. Twister on a Northern Tackle Mimic Minnow head. It's not the best combo, but definitely one that I usually take ice fishing with me. Tube jigs also, I don't have one, but I need to get some tube jigs. Tube jigs are definitely essential. Now, here's a few good lures. Spoons are up next. I hope I'm not sounding like I'm whispering here. Really don't. Whatever. I have one here. This is a Williams. A Williams Wobbler is a Canadian made spoon, and they are just they are trout candy, I tell you. Now here's a nice fishing lure of mine. Call them Castmasters. That's not even in from there. You go Castmasters or something like that. Jigging spoons. This one, due to its size, I will be using that just kind of as it is. Next we'll go spinners. You saw this one coming when I said trout, didn't ya? Now, I do make a few of my own, so as of right now, I'm just going to show you one that I didn't make. This is a Mepps Black Fury size 1 with a broken treble hook. I had to replace the hook on that, so doors are hollow. Anyway, guys, yeah, this one I didn't make. However, there are 3 more lures in here that I did make. Here's this one for example. Just took 3 different types of spinners together and cobbled them together. It doesn't look the best, I know, but here I've got one for a friend of mine. This one is also homemade. Doesn't look the best. However, my crowning jewel, my favorite one so far, this one. I like this one because it's got the long silver willow leaf blade, and it's a bit heavier. But I think if I'm going to put my faith into any of these lures, I'm going to have to put my faith into this one. You can't even see my face. YouTube videos are not going to be my forte here. This one. See, I've just done the normal thing you do with spinners. One metal bead here, plastic, then is that plastic bead breaking? Bruh. I'm mad. That's breaking. Either way, now we're going to go on to what I like to call brookie spinners. Brookie spinners are even lighter than normal spinners. That there's what we call a brookie spinner. Just itty bitty. Hey man, for barbless hooks, am I right? But oh wait, no, that one does have a barb. But like I said, just itty bitty little things. Nothing too special about them. Most times you can get them with flies on the end. That's not bleeding. Alright, whatever, I'll live. A lot of times with flies on them. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put rubber eggs on the back of these. And that's it for lures. Now, well, crank, spoon spinners, the top us, stuff like that. Now we're going to take a bit of a deeper look into the second tray. Second tray is more for utilities. So I've got all sorts of rigs, fire starters, lighters, pliers, snips, I think I said pliers, scissors, stuff like that. Here I have false salmon eggs. However, they're sitting in what I like to call salmon oil, or salmon egg oil. So through a curing process I did 2 years ago, I would salt and water the salmon eggs in a little small dish repeatedly. Now I would add water, salt them, more water, salt them again, and over time I would be building up some sort of oil from the popped ones, and it would all just collect in the bottom. Now, what I've done is I've taken that and I've dumped that into waxies, shiners, and most importantly this. Now, ever since I did this, I can make it into a fish paste that I could smear over lures when I'm salmon fishing. The results are, they're pretty friggin' good. Actually, this year I ended up catching some nice salmon with that little trick, so these are definitely something I'm going to be keeping with me. Now, moving on, a little trolling rig I keep in these little bags just so it's easier to pack up, doesn't get tangled, you know. So this one I've just got a little small hook on it. Definitely something I'll be using for brookies. I say brookies, not brook trout. Bad habit. Of course, swivels. Smaller ones, keep those on you, but as I'm saying, tweezers or forceps with actually these ones are nice because they have like the scissors on the inside, but other than that, they lock, no big deal. Small scissors. Now this guy is pretty cool. Now I don't know where you would get these per se, but I've just found these over the time, but it's a rigged worm. I don't know if you can see that very well through the bag, but awesome like that. Measuring tape, always something you should probably have, especially when you're trout fishing. You gotta keep those catches logged. I need a scale though, so chapstick, that's not important. Here I have a walleye rig that I refuse to take out of there, but it does float, and so I've added 2 orange, actually stings. Am I dense? Of course I am. But it does have the floating piece, so what I'll do is I'll put a small weight or a couple split shots on it. Now, when I was buying flies, I didn't anticipate on keeping these, but when I started making sliding bead rigs, you know, as if it were a Carolina rig, but with the bead between the swivel and the hook, realized I could just I can coil it up, and I could put it into these. Now, I smile when I look at these because I realize how brain dead I kind of was at the time to produce an actual good idea. Problem is it takes up a bit of space. So I've got chartreuse, a larger orange one, and I've got pink. Nothing much to note there. I hate pulling apart this particular tray because it doesn't go back together very well. Sometimes I wonder if I'm actually brain dead or not. Put that one upside down. I'm sorry. This is all over the place, I know. Bear with me. I'll figure this out eventually. Either way, moving on. Of course, you know, if you got a stringer, you're gonna want to pack it light with a small rope stringer. Now, as I was saying, fire starters. Okay, I keep them in a little pill bottle. Now, these bad boys. If you're ever cooking bacon, wrap that stuff up in like a paper towel like you normally would to drain the grease. cut them into strips, roll them, and then once you have them all rolled up, twist them. They make perfect fire starters. I use them all the time. Plus, when they're burning, I can't even lie about it. It doesn't smell like you're cooking bacon. I wish it did, but it really doesn't. So that's all for that tray. Next up, we're going to move into the front pocket. So, most fishermen will tell you, they'll, fly fishermen especially, they'll have mint containers for hooks, flies, stuff like that. Some of them will even make dividers with small cardboard. These ones are empty for the time being. Now, I have some Berkley 1-inch minnows here. Nothing much to note. I haven't used them. Just given to these by a friend. Next up, if you're going into the creek stuff in the side of the woods, especially up in northern areas, spring, you're gonna want a can of this stuff. Deer flies are Satan spawns, to say the least. Deer flies and horse flies. My number one enemy are those two flies in particular, so do make sure you fight them back. Now, what I was saying earlier about that salmon oil, I have this in there with some waxies. It's kind of solidified into a paste, as I've said, or a gel, if you please. And of course, you can't go trout fishing without trout dough bait. Now, I've used a lot of this since the salmon run, trying to catch what we thought were rainbow trout, but in fact they were a bunch of whitefish. So bit of a dumb moment. Now, of course, here's the last bit. It's a smaller tray. Now, with the smaller tray, I have one floating jig head. Now, these things are actually pretty cool. I like using the bigger ones for garpike fishing. I'll put a leopard frog on the back with a stinger hook, preferably, and I'll just let it slide downriver. And especially if you're doing it at night, when they do come around the most, I find all you hear is a splash and your adrenaline will just start running, because the bigger ones, they're the ones that usually jump. Now, remember I was talking about the beads? I did another stupid thing, and I put one on a hook. You can't even see that because my fat sausage fingers are in the way. Here we go. I've just put one on a hook. Now, that one I do plan to cast on its own or with a split shot. I do have tiny split shots. And I even have, as I was mentioning with bead rigs and the trolling rigs, I do have a couple of smaller weights that do slide. I'll probably have to put a drill through those, but oh well. And I do, of course, have small hooks. Now, as far as, ow. Awesome, I've hurt myself again. That's twice in this video I've hurt myself, but that's everything for this bag. It is so comfortable. I recommend you go find one. Once again, not sponsored by any of the companies I listed. I wish I was, but I'm not. But yeah, of course, on the inside it does have a small mesh pocket that I don't use. In the back, interestingly enough, you do have on the bottom and the top a small pocket here that comes out on each side. Not sure why you'd want to use that or what you would use it for. See, it's on the top as well. Not sure what you'd use that for. Could care less either way. It is very, I know I'm breaking out here. Oh well, forget it. I'll deal with it later. But that's gonna wrap that up for right now. I'm only putting this out to quickly churn out a video because as I did mention over my boomer site, Facebook, I hate myself, that I do want to make this my full-time career. Not necessarily YouTube, but fishing videos itself with ads, stuff like that, sponsors. Honestly, that has just been a goal of mine, and I really hope I can get to it. So, that's it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I need to work some more, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Tight lines, ladies and gentlemen.